Welcome to the ConnectHF Site Responsibilities Training. My name is Tracy Hoffman. I'm a coordinator here at DCRI. The focus of the training will be on patient screening enrollment, touch on follow-up, and study maintenance. We will start off with patient screening. In review of the inclusion-exclusion criteria, patients must be 18 years of age or older, with a primary cause of hospitalization of acute heart failure, an ejection fraction of less than or equal to 40%, and discharge home or to a facility where the patient is responsible for their own medication. Patients should not have a prior heart transplant or a current or planned LVAD. Does not have chronic kidney disease requiring dialysis or a terminal illness other than heart failure with a life expectancy of less than 1 year. Patients must be available to complete follow-up visits over the next 12 months. To help identify eligible patients, review admission logs and records for admitting diagnosis of heart failure, as well as common symptoms such as shortness of breath. Screen for labs for biomarkers suggestive of heart failure. Also, look for patients receiving IV diuretics as a treatment, as this is given to over 90% of heart failure patients. Your site was provided with pocket cards. These can be distributed to your colleagues to help identify patients. The cards include patient eligibility criteria. There is also a section to include your contact information. We have a Connect Heart Failure recruitment poster that you may utilize at your site to help identify patients as well. We recommend posting these near the nurse's station or the heart failure ward. This also has a section to include your contact information. To help determine patient fallout, we request sites complete a screening log. The log will only collect patients not enrolled and the reason why. We do ask that the file is sent electronically to DCRI at the end of each month. The screening fact sheet is given to potential patients to give them an overview of why the trial is being done. It also covers the study's responsibilities during the follow-up portion of the study. If your site is randomized to the digital arm, the study coordinator will ask the patient to check their mobile device to confirm if it has an operating system capable of supporting the HealthStar app. There is an Android version of this screening card. The operating system required for Android is 4.4 or higher. And then there is an Apple version of this screening card. The Apple operating system is 9 or higher. The patient may need to run a system update to download the current version of the operating system in order to download the HealthStar app. A screening checklist is provided to assist with determining eligible patients. We will not collect this form, but is simply used as a screening tool. The checklist includes inclusion and exclusion criteria, as well as the digital capabilities that are included in the screening fact sheet. We will now review patient enrollment activities. These are the items needed to enroll patients into ConnectHF: patient ID, consent, the digital addenda and HIPAA if applicable, the medical records release, the patient contact form, and baseline patient questionnaire, as well as the participant guide. I will review these in detail on the following slides. A patient ID can be found in either the EDC, ECOS, as the next available ID, or the enrollment log that is included in your site's operations manual. The patient ID should be included on all enrollment documents. During the consenting process, ensure the patient understands their trial responsibilities. These are the completion of the medical records release, patient contact form, completing questionnaires, and the use of the trial app if they are eligible. Follow-up will include 4 phone calls that will be completed by the DCRI call center. These interviews take approximately 15 to 20 minutes and are completed at 6 weeks post-discharge and then again at 3, 6, and 12 months post-discharge. After you have reviewed the consent, ensure the signature page is completed. If the form is not signed by the patient, we cannot collect any information on this patient. Sites randomized to the digital or direct and digital arm will utilize a digital addendum during the consenting process if the patient meets the digital capabilities. The patient will acknowledge this page. If the patient does not agree to the addendum and does not want to download the app, they can still participate in this trial. The medical records release form is a very important document that is needed in order to meet the study objectives. ConnectHF will collect longitudinal data on medical care and outcomes of patients after the index hospitalization. In order to do this, we need a completed medical records release form. Please be sure to complete this at the time of enrollment. The top section is for the patient's name and date of birth, followed by their signature and date. The bottom portion of the page is to be completed by DCRI, so please leave this section blank. Another critical document is the patient contact form. This form provides DCRI with patient contact information to contact patients by phone to complete the follow-up interviews. We need complete patient contact information for each enrolled patient so that we can maximize our follow-up efforts and achieve the trial goals. DCRI may contact you to assist in getting corrected contact information. On the form, we do collect the patient name and address. We use the address to ship the Visa cards to the patient after the follow-up interviews, as well as phone number. We need as many as possible. We collect the subject email. You could also use this during the downloading of the trial app. It's a useful place to put this. We are collecting alternate contacts. This is important. If a patient becomes lost to follow-up, we may contact their alternate contacts. Please reassure the patient that we will only contact the alternate listed in the event that we are unable to reach the patient directly. The patient can give permission to answer health-related questions on the form as well. We also collect the primary care physician information. If the patient does not have this information, at a minimum, we just need the physician first and last name, as well as city and state. There are 3 questionnaires for the patients to complete at baseline. These are the 2 quality improvement questionnaires, the KCCQ and the EQ5D. Please score the patient-reported results on the thermometer. Note in the medication adherence questionnaire, if the patient reports adherence in section 1, they do not need to complete part 2 of the questionnaire. Ensure the questionnaires are completed. The participant guides are developed per trial arm, the digital specific one for HealthStar, as well as a registry and direct arm. Within the guide are very important sections to review with the patient, specifically how to download the app. Use the instructions page to walk the patient through the downloading of the app. There will be a separate module to review with downloading instructions for the digital app. The guide also includes contact information for tech support and the DCRI call center. This guide will be a resource to the patient after enrollment. Within the guide is a follow-up call table. Please complete the estimated month for each of the follow-up interviews. This table is found on the second page of the guide. Sites randomized to either of the digital arms will be provided with a separate training module. As a high-level overview, the apps will be initiated through a portal and should be downloaded prior to discharge. Sites in the registry or direct engagement arm will have patients download the Connect Heart Failure webpage onto their mobile device. This webpage is designed to support heart failure patients. Once the link is added to the patient's mobile device, direct the patient to the front page of the website to the Take Survey button. There is a short text survey savvy question for patients to complete. The patient will need their trial ID to complete this questionnaire. The ConnectHF bag can be given to patients to hold their trial materials. Within the bag, please include the ConnectHF stylus pen, participant guide for patient reference throughout their trial participation, the wallet card for the patient to provide to their PCP or cardiologist to notify them of the patient's participation in the trial, and the Bluetooth devices if using the HealthStar app. Within 2 days after enrollment, please fax the enrollment documents to DCRI using the ConnectHF fax cover sheet. Include the signed consent, addendum if a digital site, and HIPAA if a separate document. The completed patient contact form and medical records release. We do not need the baseline patient questionnaires as these are entered into ECOS. These faxes are received directly into a secure directory. Baseline data will be collected in IBM Clinical Development, formerly ECOS. There will be a separate module for this ECOS training. We ask the data is entered within 7 days of discharge in order for data to be ready for follow-up. Baseline data includes inclusion and exclusion criteria, demographics, and medical history. Now to touch on follow-up activities. The DCRI call center completes all follow-up visits. The call center accommodates all time zones, nights, and weekends. DCRI will provide a reloadable Visa card after the first follow-up visit. After each visit is completed, $25 will be loaded onto the Visa card. The DCRI economics team will use the medical records release to collect bills, UB04s, and medical records. These requests will be made directly to the hospital's billing or records department. If a patient reports an adverse drug reaction during a follow-up interview, DCRI will instruct the patient to contact their study physician. The study physician will determine causality and complete a MedWatch, if applicable, and submit to Novartis and the FDA. After site randomization, trial materials and documents we have reviewed will be sent to your site. The shipment will also include a trial manual of operations, which will include reference materials. The manual of operations will be reviewed with your site during the site activation call. Finally, trial maintenance. Sites are required to maintain IRB approval until the end of the trial. Provide updated delegation of authority logs as needed and training certificates if they expire. Be on the lookout for biweekly trial status correspondence as well as monthly coordinator calls. 12-month rehospitalization reported will be captured in IBM Clinical Development, or ECOS. Sites will report hospitalizations that have occurred after enrollment up to 12 months post-discharge, or up to the patient's withdrawal or deceased date. We ask that sites enroll a minimum of 2 to 3 patients a month. As a reminder, there is an enrollment cap. Enrollment must occur prior to discharge. Patients' use of the app is not necessary to remain enrolled in the trial. And fax enrollment forms within 2 days of patient discharge and complete baseline data within 7 days of discharge. Next step, if your site hasn't been randomized, this will occur once your site has executed contract and IRB approval. Notification will be sent via email. DCRI will call to schedule a site activation call and your site will be ready to enroll patients. Thank you for your participating in this exciting trial. Please contact DCRI with any questions.